This time I'll call the May 7th, 2020 meeting to order for Dixon County Commission. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, our agenda this morning, we have no additions to the agenda, and so I would move that we approve the agenda as printed.
I'll second that.
We have the motion and the second for approval of the agenda. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of April 30th meeting, fund expenditures of $110,904.57, wire payment, which includes utilities of $8,175.30, and contract services for $2,500.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have the motion and the second for approval of the consent agenda. Any other discussion or comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Commission comments. Craig, we'll start with you.
Yeah, not much here, but something that with the COVID-19 kind of highlighting all the news, I think we need to bring out the fact is that people in the county that haven't done their 2020 census, it's very important to the county and everybody to make sure that everybody fills that out. I don't know what the success rate in Dixon County is. We won't know till it's done, but I'm sure it's not going to be as well as we'd like to be. People responded to it. That's all I have, Lynn.
And it's an easy form, really,
Yeah.
as forms go to fill out.
And you can do it online.
And there's been mailings people have received or online. So, thank you. Ron?
Well, I appreciate coming to the meeting. It's been some time since we've met all together. And, it kind of gives you a feeling of appreciation to be able to get out of the house after approximately 50-some days. So again, we thank all the people in Dickinson County for helping us out with the not spreading the virus around and being cautious of that. So thank you.
The only thing I would mention is earlier this morning at 8 o'clock, we started having budget hearings. And we have our budget schedule. We heard from the Dixon County EDC, also from the Tri-County Fair and the Conservation District. Next Thursday, we'll have our next set of meetings that will begin at 8:30 that we'll be here and we'll hear our audit report at that time. And from the Historical Society and also Central Kansas Mental Health. And we'll continue that through the month of May and into June. And one of the concerns and recommendations that we had made and encouraged not only these groups to look for ways to cut back 10% or on their budgets from what they were previous years, but we've also made that recommendation to department heads and elected officials. We have no way at this time of knowing what the final budget numbers will be, but you know we're asking people to in a very disciplined and methodic way do that. And of course we're very much aware that we have a certain level of services and expectation that people have too. So that's something that we'll be wrestling with as far as the commission, and of course it's not going to be as simple as just saying, well, this is what the budget's going to be. We're going to hear from all the groups and assess our current needs and go through the information the best we can. That's all I have. There's no petitions, there's no proclamations, public comment. We'll go now to the reports of the county officers, and so our county administrator, Brad Hammond, if you could give us your report, please.
Okay, in your package you've got the year-to-date staffing reports along with the budget reports. Staffing reports, as we discussed in the work session, we've had some terminations that have taken place, and we've still got a number of vacancies in several departments that have not been filled. And at this stage in the game, we're probably not gonna fill some of those temporarily. We may advertise and see if the perfect candidate comes in, but for the most part, we're probably gonna hold off a little bit on some of those. Some of them we will have to fill, but just in the interest of worrying about the loss in revenue, and like Lynn said, not knowing exactly how that's gonna impact us at this point, we're gonna hold off, and unfortunately, staffing is one of the most expensive things. The best place we can save money, of course, but we gotta have staff to do it. Between the benefits and the salary, well, that'll help us considerably. You heard Janelle report during the work session that, sales tax alone is about 6% of our budget, overall budget, so we know sales tax is gonna be down a little bit. Right now, the sales tax report that you have for showing February's numbers, they're down about $6,000 over January's. I anticipate those will be down considerably next month, because we're still a couple of months behind, and the impact really didn't start till the month of March, so how far down those are remains to be seen, so. The rest of the budget reports are normal as far as, I didn't see any issues there, and Janelle didn't report anything, so it's plenty early in the year, so. Jail construction, I'm happy the report's going fairly well, with the good weather that we've had and the lack of the storm actually hitting this block in Abilene earlier. I think it was Friday that they had just put all the roofing materials on the roof of the jail section, and luckily that material is still on the roof of the jail section. I was a little concerned after Monday's storm that it would be across the city of Abilene, but it's still there. So we had our 2-week meeting on Monday, late Monday morning, and went through the project. The deep footings on the northeast side of the courthouse are completed, and they're started backfilling those this week. However, they ran into some issues with the water again. You can't compact mud, and so they were, yesterday we got the authorization from the engineers to put some big rocks in the bottom to get some stability and then compact the dirt around that. And so Boyd's is gonna start doing that today. But it'd be nice to get that area compacted and backfilled so they can start working on connecting the jail to the courthouse and working on that section of the project, so. They dug some deep footings on the southeast side of this building, which would be the new main entrance, and they're working on those as we speak. All the jail cells were welded down last week and put in place, and so they're ready to go, and the structural, or what I would call the siding people are here. All the materials are here, and they'll start putting the wall together back there and getting that going and getting that enclosed, the metal stud crew. Let's see, we're still running into a few problems with the concrete sub that Lloyd Builders is working on, trying to light a fire underneath them, for lack of a better description. And along that lines, I know that Lloyd Builders is scheduled to go to mediation in Wichita with the original contractor that had backed out, and that's scheduled for June 2nd, so we'll see what comes out of that, so. Other than that, things have been going well out there. If you guys haven't been in to see it for a while, so it probably looks considerably different if you looked at it out there, but I would certainly encourage you to drive around the block and look at it. It's come along really well, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll have some time in one of the schedules that, in the morning when we get between this building and that one, where we can, if you guys are interested, take 30, 45 minutes to go out and do a tour and walk through what's being done so far. I know with Lynn and Craig anyhow, having seen the plans and been through some of that design, especially Craig, having looked at other jails, and Lynn looked at some other jails, and having been through those and seeing and having Tom explain what's what, you'll see that starting to come together out there, and that's pretty impressive. So we did install this over the weekend. Last weekend we had a contractor install some protective sheets in front of the treasurer's office and the clerk's office of plexiglass to help kind of separate the public from the staff. There's enough in the treasurer's office. There's enough space underneath that they can still do business, but that'll kind of give us a little added barrier with the COVID thing going on to protect everybody going forward. And then Monday, we are gonna semi-open the courthouse back up. We will still be encouraging people to call in and make appointments with the clerk and treasurer's office, so we don't have people standing out in line. The guards will do a good job, and they've done an excellent job through all this too, by the way, of monitoring that and only letting so many people in that can be waited on at a time. Anybody else waits outside, or they can come back at a later time. So what we want to avoid is people standing in lines and having close contact. So, but if people do need to come in to go to the sheriff's department or one of the other offices, we'll certainly allow them to do that. We'll still be taking temperatures and asking them questions, make sure they haven't been sick recently, but we're slowly transitioning back to a normal state. So I think that's about all I've got.
I got a question here.
Okay.
I should know what it's ROD.
Oh, registered deeds.
Okay.
Marty had approached me a couple weeks ago, and I had approached Janelle about possibly doing some changes in her vault and putting a wall back in there to make what she wants to call an archive room. And I talked to the architects this week, and they thought that would be fine, be very simple. At the same time, I asked her about her door on her vault. We're gonna take the door off the vault into Leah's office,
Right.
because it's more of an office than a vault. And figured while those guys are used to taking that apart, that big heavy door, she said, yeah, they don't need the vault door anymore either. So it'll be replaced with just a solid core door of some type. And might be much easier to service and work on, so. So there's a few changes going on, but that's all. And we're still looking at June to put the renovation out for bids. And so that'll all be updated in the plans for that when we get to that point, so.
Okay, thank you. Doug?
Well, I guess I would mirror some of what Brad has said. The rest of it I'm not involved in with it, but I think the guidelines the county have put in place have just been excellent. I watched the people coming in, the guards have done a good job with dealing with those people. I think the people certainly respect it and appreciate the fact that that there are limitations and they can come in and still do the business if they need. Seems to be working well. Other than that, I don't have anything.
All right. Thank you. We'll go through our notices and communications. And we just have a few here. We have a letter in regards to jurisdictional funding assistance, and that's from the municipal finance and services. And then also from KDHE, I believe, we have regarding Kansas water pollution control permits. And this is kind of a housekeeping type thing that takes place whenever you have someone that has livestock and they go ahead and just do a renewal. And just looking for the one from Abilene, if we have one here. But anyway, we did receive that, and we just need to have notice of it is all. And let's see, get to learn the whole state, Stanton County, which is clear out southwest, Trigo County. I'll send that. Okay, not sure why we have this one, but don't see one in Dixon County, but it is a notification that is sent out anytime there are, well, okay, it has to do with the Kansas Falls South Quarry. And is that one by,
Over South Mesa Chapman.
Yeah, Byers.
is it Byers or Walker Stone?
Well, it was Waterstone, but it's Byers
It's
now.
Byers
Because they were
office.
doing an expansion, weren't they, Walker Stone? And
Well, they're in the process of doing something up on K-18, but I don't know that probably deals with Byers.
this is Byers Stone.
Yeah, copy, yeah.
And the only other one is, this is county news, and it's just the newspaper that they send out. Were there any other notices or communications that you
You might
received?
remember, mention the letter we got from the KAC about property taxes.
Well, I don't know, Brad, would you want to go ahead and cover that? But has to do with whether there would be an extension of the date on property taxes. It appears there isn't going to be, or it would have to come from the governor, but if you go ahead and.
Yeah, we'd gotten an email from Bruce Adley at KC, the executive director, and yesterday, I think it was,
Yeah.
and I forwarded it to you. It had to do with the potential extending of any deadline from the May 11th date on property taxes in Kansas. Governor Kelly had apparently indicated previously that she had no intentions of extending that unless the counties got together through KDC and requested it, because the counties are the secondary or the biggest, that's the biggest revenue source for counties across the board out of the dozen or 18, I think, big tax assessors, so, or tax entities, so. He did send her a letter yesterday and indicated that he had no request through the KDC to do that at this point. I know that you all have had some people approach you and ask that, and so at this point, you know, it has to take a legislative action, or apparently Governor Kelly could extend that deadline through an executive order, but I don't believe that's gonna happen, and at this point in the game, the deadline is Monday to have those property taxes paid, so.
We also did receive a letter, and it had to do with a tax appeal decision in Labette County, and I don't think we have to act on this now, but they were just asking that our county consider assisting financially or publicly with our comments, and it had to do with a decision that they are taking to the Court of Appeals and on Kansas oil and gas appraisal guidelines. And, you know, while that doesn't impact our county directly, it impacts many counties across the state, so we did receive that letter also. Anything else that anyone would have? The only other business we have on the agenda is to consider the resignation of Reinhardt Township Trustee Irvin Zimmerman and the appointment of Tim Nelson as the trustee. In my understanding, they notified Barb on that, so she's aware of it. And then the person that is resigning is because they're moving out of Reinhardt and out of the county. So we'll need a motion to accept that resignation, but also the appointment of Tim Nelson as trustee of Reinhardt Township.
So moved.
And I'll second it.
We have the motion and the second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? I'll give the second, so it doesn't die from lack of motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.